Welcome back, Texas A&M baseball fans. This is Jake McKeever and Marshall Ingram going to be recapping Week 4 of Texas A&M baseball, as well as looking ahead to the opening weekend of SEC play. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. We'll start with Tuesday. Marshall, Incarnate Word, not really a baseball power. Tell me kind of what you saw from the Aggies.
Yeah, so really just good start to the week. They jumped on them early. It was 8-0 by the fourth inning, and then they kind of let the Cards crawl back into it a little bit. But then later in the game, they just really ran away with it. Quality start by Wyatt Tucker. He had 4.2 innings pitched, only allowed one hit. He did allow 4 runs, but all of them were unearned. And so quality start by him. Need to clean it up in the field a little bit, I'd say. But on the offensive side of it, Tab Tracy coming alive, Austin Bose keeping it going, and Hayden Haas really good.
Yeah, Wyatt Tucker, I was there for this game. He was very, very effective until kind of at the end when he got a little tired and started missing it and walked a few people. And then obviously his defense didn't help him out. But 83 pitches, 4 2/3. That's going to be great for your midweek guy. And again, you said Haas heating up. And then he hit 2 home runs that matched his career total. So that was kind of an odd little tidbit.
Yeah.
He didn't hit any home runs last year.
First as an Aggie too. Yeah.
Yeah, and his bat flip looked very professional. Like you'd think he was a double-digit guy last year, but more of the same. Yeah, this was a game kind of 8 or 9 months in the making because if you remember, Incarnate Word, we had to cancel that game due to RPI worries. So it was kind of good to see this game actually get played. But yeah, I don't anticipate Incarnate Word being very good at all. We'll go ahead and move into that Wednesday night game. It was a rematch against the Rice Owls. It was at Rice Stadium. Again, Tab Tracy played center field. Hunter Haas batted second. Jordan Thompson played right, and Caden Kent played third. Everything else was pretty much the same. Actually, I take that back. Jack Moss DH'd, and Targosh played first. So I think that's going to be the rotation is between Jack and Targosh and Bose. They're going to kind of rotate between first and second because Targosh can kind of play anywhere.
Yeah, he can. Against Rice, Lampkin was really effective. He was beating them with his fastball looked like, and then kind of how we predicted, kind of like a slow game. They actually controlled the whole game, but on a Wednesday at Reckling, come out a little bit dragging. But I thought they did a good job of kind of staying in the game and just taking control of the game for 9 innings.
Yeah, very boring game. Lampkin had 5 innings, only gave up 3 hits. Brandon Garcia, 3 innings, 3 hits, and then Willie Johnson coming in, not allowing a hit. Runs-wise, Thompson had an RBI single. Lavalette had a 2 RBI single. Gregson hit into a double play, but Thompson scored. Rice did have a ground out unassisted, but it was unearned, and then Bose doubled to keep it going. So another multi-hit game for Bose. Tab Tracy added a hit, and then Jordan Thompson's kind of heating up as well, which is kind of good to see. I know he kind of started a little bit slow, and Tab Tracy got to play a little bit, so it's good to see his bat kind of coming alive.
Yeah, 100%. Helps the Ags out a lot. And then something that I did notice during the midweeks and then kind of leading into the weekend was Schloss just kind of switching up that catcher role. Gregson seeing starts in both games, or he started on Wednesday. Bard started on Tuesday, and then
but he came in later to catch. I think
he came in on Tuesday.
Get an at bat.
Yeah, and so I think in those 2 games they both kind of just. They were reliable, and so Schloss just kept with them throughout the weekend. So that was actually exciting to see.
Yeah, and I think that they're going to platoon until one of them kind of wins the job. And I think Max at this point as a freshman is kind of, I wouldn't say played himself off the field, but I don't think he's going to be a weekend guy at all. I think he's going to be a midweek guy at minimum. We'll go ahead and roll right along into that Friday night game. Lineup-wise, J.D. Gregson got the start at catcher, but Max came in at the end. Tab Tracy manned center field with Stanley Tucker coming on late. Other than that, a very, very normal Texas A&M lineup. I think that this is what we'll probably see. And then Caden Kent will probably slide back into the outfield once Minnick comes back. But I'm sure Minnick will DH in some aspect. before he kind of gets rolling. But Detmer, this is the kind of Detmer that we expected to see. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 101 pitches, got the win, his first of the year. And it was really great to see him kind of attack hitters and not leave balls over the plate.
Yeah, if the Ags want to make a run through conference, Detmer's going to be a key piece. And so if he can just do this, just stay consistent and just do this throughout the conference, that's going to help them out a lot. And then it was also really cool to see Ty Sexton coming in, 3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run on 49 pitches. And so that was good to see Sexton closing it out.
Yep, and multi-hit games from Caden Kent. Jack Moss was hitless, but he was on base twice with 2 balls. And Austin Bose, I think he carries a current 9-game hitting streak, so obviously he had a hit. Good to see. Very, I would say, normal Texas A&M kind of game. Had an 8-run second inning, and then from there, they're pretty much on cruise control until the end. I think they had a 1 earned run out of that. But final line, 8 runs on 9 hits, 2 errors. For A&M, Northern Kentucky, 1 run, 6 hits, no errors. So gonna have to clean those errors up a little bit. But again, games like these, I think it's more of a mental thing. And we'll roll.
Yeah, especially once you get up 8-0 in the second.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing too. I mean the bats still count and the ERAs still count, but again, it's very the strike zones are a little bit wider, and it's a very very kind of different zone. And credit to Ditmer in this one. I know we talked about it last week that Northern Kentucky kind of had some inflated stats because they played, I think, a 30 run game that they had. Mm-hmm. So I expect them to come out and hit a little bit better than they did. Had 6 hits. Lee McFadden Ackman had 2 of them. Other than that, their lineup really didn't do that much damage.
Yeah, no, they didn't. Kind of throughout the whole game the whole series until game 3. But yeah, really good job by Detmer setting the tone for the series.
Yeah, and then rolling right into Saturday, Troy Wansing kind of continued his dominant stretch after last week.
Yeah.
6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 10 strikeouts on 100 pitches. Then Jaron Warwack came in to throw an inning. This one was a run roll, so it was only a 7-inning game. Aggies had a 4-run 7th inning off of a Chestnut double, a Haas single, a Bose single, and a Targash home run. Worth noting that Targash hit a home run from both sides of the plate as he is a switch hitter, so I thought that was kind of cool to see. I couldn't tell you last time I saw a switch hitter hit a home run from both sides.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then his first bomb goes over the backdrop in center field, and so that
thing was a shot.
450. I mean, yeah, that was huge. Set the tone for the rest of the game. And then it was also really cool to see Chestnut, get his first start of the year. Comes in, goes 2 for 4 with a few RBIs. That was awesome.
Yeah, he batted 9th. Hunter Haas, again, I think he's kind of worked himself in with Jack Moss and Boast, where those guys are going to be in there in some aspect. Thompson and Wright, and then Gregson behind the plate for us.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I think that this is going to be another lineup that we see a lot. Jack Moss DHing with Ryan Targash at first. Love seeing Ryan Targash at first. I think that with experience and stuff like that, he's going to get more comfortable at that position because, I mean, he plays a really good second base. So that's the thing that's kind of cool. So he's almost like a middle infielder at first base.
Yeah, if you can throw a middle infielder who's able to play first base, that's a huge plus because he's just got the glove and he can dig anything.
Yeah, and especially with Warner in his range, how they've moved him around with some of the shifts, I think that they view him as kind of a middle infielder type as well from his range. So, I mean, they're going to be a very rangy, lengthy infield, and Haas, again, looked really, really smooth up the middle at short.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Haas coming alive offensively, and he's been just solid defensively all year. But really, just him coming alive at the plate too, that's been huge. And so that's something that I was really waiting to see rolling into conference, and hopefully that can keep going against LSU this next weekend.
Yeah, and the pitching is going to step up a little bit, but I mean, you have to like what you've seen from Haas so far. I think he hit under 200 last year at Arizona State. And then I'll pull up his live stats so we can get it. But I imagine he's around the 300 mark. Let me see. It'll load for us. I guess while that's loading, we'll jump into the Sunday game. Obviously, A&M won 10-0. 10 runs on 13 hits. Northern Kentucky had 7 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors. A&M was down most of this game. They were down 7-3 in the 5th before the bats kind of came alive. Had 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, and then obviously didn't go in the 9th. So it was good to kind of see them bounce back. And I think that this is kind of a game that, as an A&M fan, you come to expect from these teams. They get down, have these big bad at bats, and I don't mean bad as like bad and crappy. I mean bad as in like tough, grindy at bats and getting on base. Pitching wise, Chris Cortez did 2 1/3, 4 runs, 57 pitches. Evan Aschenbach, 2 innings, 1 earned run. Sadeo, 2 1/3, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, 39 pitches. And then Willie Johnson kind of coming in to slam the door, 4 strikeouts. So as a team, they had 16 strikeouts as pitching staff. Great to see. And kind of more of the same. Did you watch any of this game at all?
I didn't get to see this game, but watching it over and then just looking at the stats afterwards, Aschenbach wasn't great coming out of the pen, but it's also it's got to be expected when Cortez goes out in the third. But I thought he did a good job of coming in unexpectedly early, and then Sadeo getting the job done, and then Johnston, he gets in trouble in the ninth, bases loaded, and he gets out of the jam without letting up a run.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what you want to see in these early games is it's really hard to kind of replicate those close at-bats. So it was great to see him kind of work himself into trouble and then get himself out of it. But great series overall. 5-0 week. I think this is probably the only time this season that we'll have a 5-0 week, just because they
outscored their opponents 39-15. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, 15 runs over 5 games is tremendous, and then 39 runs. But I'll pull up some of the cumulative stats here. If we can find it. But I mean, Boast is heating up. Haas is remaining hot. I think if Jordan Thompson kind of works it out a little bit with his stuff, I think it'll be a really exciting team. And then and then from a catching standpoint, I think Gregson is going to be.
Gregson's taking over that number 1 role. Yeah, I like Bard behind there, but I think Gregson, he just looks a little more poised back there behind the plate. But the good thing is they both have experience. Both 2-year Bard, 2-year JUCO guy, and then Gregson played a year at Baylor and then played a year at Grayson. And so they're kind of switching it up at that catch role with experience rather than going with the freshman. And then also Gregson, he plays with a ton of energy is what I noticed this weekend. And so I think that kind of brings an edge from the pitching catching standpoint.
So hitting wise, Hunter Haas is leading the way, batting .358. Boast .315, like I said, with the 9-game hitting streak. Caden Kent, .298. Jack Moss at .263. I think his is kind of buoyed because he went 0 for 8 in that Sunday game against Texas Tech. So I think his batting average is really going to be about 30 or 40 points higher. I'm not really sure what the issue was that day.
Yeah, even when he doesn't get a hit in the game, he's still getting on base. I mean, I swear he walks every single game. And so he's still finding a way to get the job done, even when he doesn't get a hit.
Yeah, 425 on base percentage. I think that you'll take that. Lavalette batting .226, Jordan Thompson at .222. We didn't see Trevor Warner this week, but he is batting .194. I think it's some dehydration issues, but Tab Tracy, again, he has a very small sample size, but he's hitting .407, which is a truly great story because I believe he was a walk-on, so I don't think he's a scholarship player for Schloss, and he's kind of turned himself into, the everyday center fielder at Houston last year. Out of nowhere too.
He 5 for 15 on the week, and so that's awesome.
Pitching wise, Nathan Detmer, again, this is before LSU, 1-1, 237. Opponents are hitting 197 against him. Troy Wansing, 2-1, 275. Opponents are hitting 233 against him. And Chris Cortez, 1-0 with a 4.11 ERA. His is a little bit buoyed by the walks, but opponents are hitting 207 against him. So I think those are going to be your 3. And then Aschenbach, Rudis, and I think Willie Johnson are going to be our bullpen guys heading into the LSU series. But before we kind of talk on that LSU series, we'll I guess touch on the Houston Cougars. Not really anything special, if I'm being honest. This is not.
I don't really know what
I think a Houston team
from them. I don't think they've been as good as they have been in the past. Yeah, 5-10 on the year.
Lost to Incarnate Ward in a tournament. Got swept by OU this weekend. That one, I'll be interested to see how Sloss plays it, just because, I mean, we haven't seen a ton of Stanley Johnson. There's a lot of guys that I think have not necessarily hit their way into the lineup, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see, the Caden Kents, the Jordan Thompsons, the Haas's, the Tab Tracy's kind of getting more of these at bats. So I don't really anticipate this being that important of a win-loss game, as more of a kind of getting ready for LSU, setting up the pitching staff. But it is going to be
get some guys at some at bats.
It's going to be like I always call these like the dry run road trips, where it's like 30 minutes away, so you just kind of get used to traveling. And then we'll go ahead and segue into LSU. I think that this is, probably, in my opinion, the series of the weekend that most A&M fans circled on their calendar. Backstory: LSU sits at 15-1. Their lone loss being to Iowa in a tournament. So the last time I saw them was against Texas. Since then, they have played They've played 8 games. 7 of them are run rules. So the pitching has been really good. Outside of that 12-run game, the most runs they've allowed has been 4, and both those times they scored above 15 runs each. But on the weekend, 1 run, 0 runs, 1 run. Tremendous pitching staff. Very, very loaded hitting roster from the pro standpoint as well. I mean, they're an insane lineup.
Yeah, really good. I mean, there's nothing else to say about them. You can't say a bad thing about them. I mean, they were led by, Dylan Cruz, Tommy White, Kling. I mean, they're a damn good ball team. I mean, it's going to be
Dylan Cruz. It's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight. Dylan Cruz, let me pull up. What is he hitting right now? I know it's something.
He's hitting 500 with 4 home runs.
Bats.
Yeah, Paxton Kling, 424. Tommy White, 410, and I think his stats, he's probably a little bit hotter because he had that nagging injury and really didn't hit that well in the Round Rock game. So his batting average, I'll have to pull up the advanced stats to see what he did over the weekend. But again, he's a major league type bat. Gavin Dugas, Jared Jones, the freshman, is hitting 375. Trey Morgan is a very, very dangerous left fielder, hitting 319. Jordan Thompson, who I think before the season, people kind of anticipated him to be glove first, and he's hitting over 300. Brady Neal, the catcher, hitting 281. Joe Bear, third baseman, I think he was another guy who had a nagging injury, hitting 275. And I do not anticipate us seeing much of Ben Nipple. I think he kind of slid in when Tommy Tanks was it like had his nagging injury. So I don't think we'll see much of him. But let me just get these pulled up. Yeah. Tommy White went 1 for 4 today with just a base hit. I know he hit that long home run.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. That's impressive.
That was insane, yeah. Let's see what he did the other days. But again, Friday night too, I'm sure we'll see Paul Skeens. Probably one of the top pitching prospects, well over 100 miles an hour.
0.75 ERA.
I saw the person every bit as advertised from him. I think Saturday we will probably see Ty Floyd, I think is who they kind of set it up to be. Let me see who threw this week. He's been kind of their midweek guy too.
I'm interested to see who they go with game 3, because they started off with Chase Shore's opening weekend, and then I don't think they went back to him this weekend for their game 3 starter. So I'm interested to see who starts on game 3. Maybe Christian Little.
I think Christian Little is worked out to be their first out of the bullpen guy, just from what I've seen. And again, if he's your first out of the bullpen guy, that is a scary idea. That is just insane if that is your first out of the bullpen guy. Let's see. Yeah, LSU hit 5 home runs on Saturday, so it really doesn't matter who you pitch. Jared Jones hit 1. Ty Floyd is who pitched Saturday for him. I think that's who's kind of working into it. Thatcher Hurd is their Sunday guy this week, and he's again another transfer from the West Coast. But it's. I mean, we could probably spend 45 minutes talking about how talented this LSU team is, and I think A&M is going to have to be on their best to even make this a series and take one. But crazier things have happened in baseball. Thatcher Hurd's the UCLA transfer, only a sophomore. I mean, this is LSU goes about 5 or 6 pitchers deep, and I think A&M's MO has kind of been grinding out and get to the bullpen. It's going to take a great effort to beat this LSU team.
Yeah, I think if Detmer can come in and set the tone. No, I'll take that back. I'd say our best shot, at least taking one, is game 2. I think Lansing, he's been looking really good lately. I think he gives us the best shot on the mound to put us in a winning position.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say it's Detmer, but again, going against Paul Skeens, I think that's just a really, really tough matchup, and you really, as a coach, probably don't feel good about your chances against Paul Skeens. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of play, and for the freshmen, it'll be – I know that there's a big step up from high school even to lower level college, but it's going to be the best pitcher that they probably see all season with Paul Skeens. I think the only one that's close was Hawk against Louisville. And I think Paul Skeens is a step above him because I know he was a big question mark coming into the year. So if they can get 2 or 3 off of Skeens, I think that they'll put themselves in a position. And then Detmer, I think if Detmer keeps it close, he's going to have to throw 5 or 6 innings, 2 runs or less. Very, very thin margin for error to win that. And then Saturday, I do like Lansing against Ty Floyd. I think Ty Floyd is a tremendous talent at LSU. But, I mean, like you said, he's not Paul Skeens. And then Thatcher Hurd on Sunday with Chris Cortez. It'll be interesting to see what Chris Cortez we get because we've seen good and okay against some of these bad teams. Yeah, we've seen someone who's really effective, and then we've also seen a fireballer who kind of struggles with command.
Yeah, we'll see this weekend. We'll tell a lot. This is right around the time last year when the Aggies got going, and so if they can just put together one win at least in this series, I think that'll actually provide a lot of momentum. Obviously you're looking to take 2, but I think you're just looking to at least get 1.
Yeah, and I will say this, that LSU's Achilles heel last year and even to some extent this year has been their left-handed pitching. I know that Iowa's left-handed pitcher kind of gave them fits. And Lansing and Aschenbach are, I'd say, 2 of the best 4 pitchers that A&M has. So I guess there's a little bit of a matchup there against them. But again, last year, A&M did go into Baton Rouge and take 2 of 3, and they had a chance for a Sunday sweep. And I wouldn't say they blew it because you never really blow a Sunday sweep. But they were winning late in that game. And I remember at the time it was like a bad loss to LSU, and then A&M kind of played up a little bit. But A&M does have some recent history. And this team last year, they are very, very transfer heavy, but they still had Dylan Cruz. They still had Jordan Thompson. So they're not like – they weren't bad last year.
Yeah, 100%. But it is a different team. But if the Aggies could beat them last year, it's not totally – unheard of for them to beat them this year.
No, I mean, I wouldn't say not at all, but it's going to take a very, very good outing from all of your pitchers to save your bullpen. But again, they had Jobert last year, Jordan Thompson, Gavin Dugas, Dylan Cruz, and I think Dylan Cruz made a big, big jump this year too. So that one will be, and he's every bit as advertised. I mean, he flicks a ball and it goes 400 feet.
Yeah, he really does. But I'd say if Bose stays hot, Haas stays hot, and Moss he's been getting on base, but if he can get his, some more hits here and there, if we can get those 3 guys, just keep them rolling, and then we get a quality start by Lansing in game 2, and then either Cortez or Detmer just, pitch one of the games of their lives on Friday or Sunday. That'll put the Aggies in a good position.
All right, closing remarks as a fan. In your eyes, what's their record this week that you hope for, and what you think it actually is?
Well, what I hope for, and I'm going to hope for, let's say, we go 3-1. But what I'm expecting is, I'm going to expect 2-2. I think we take 1. I think one of our guys has a really good start on the mound.
Yeah, and I think I would like to see 2-2, and I think that there is a very, very real possibility that we get swept. But I think you have to win these SEC home games. I mean, the SEC isn't going to get any easier, so you almost want to take 2 of 3 just so it doesn't mess you up. But again, that's going to be a very, very, very tall task. But I honestly, any outcome, I don't think I'd be mad. I think I could see us going 2-1 and being ecstatic and being a top 5 team in the country. But I mean, if we get swept, it's not the end of the world. This is going to be the best team.
Yeah, 100%.
And I know our SEC record might not be good after the first 3 weeks, but if we can get through these first 3 weeks and win 1 or 2 of these series and not get swept, I think that would be a very, very good accomplishment.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, any closing remarks?
Austin Bose and Hunter Haas, bring it on this week.
That's your keys. Your keys to the series.
Those are my keys.
All right, I'm gonna go Hunter Haas again because I think our defense is a little bit better than LSU's this year, just because we don't really throw the ball away. We're a little bit slicker up the field. I think Evan Aschenbach, he's going to be my MVP of the series. He's going to need, I wouldn't say multiple outings just because you don't want to kill his arm early in the season, but he's going to need 3, 4, 5 innings out of the bullpen. And then Sexton as well. I think that those 2 are kind of the key from a bullpen standpoint if we want to have a chance.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
But I think that's all we have time for. Marshall and I will be doing this again either Sunday or Monday next week, where we'll recap how it went for A&M. Use code CBC15 at Home Field Apparel. So go in, get you some A&M gear. If there's any LSU fans, they also sell LSU stuff. But again, this has been Jake McKeever and Marshall Ingram. Hopefully y'all have a good week, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for tuning in.